is how can I grow? How can I actually grow my business? That might have been the reason why you tuned in, but we had to do the PSA first. You're like, no, Damon, I absolutely want to grow my business. Okay, I'm here for you. If you want to grow your business, then we could rock like that. How can you grow? It comes down to two basic things I found. The first way you can grow is by increasing or expanding the audience that you serve. My thing is non-traditional entrepreneurs. It's pretty broad. If I break it down into people in the LGBTQ community, people of color like myself, a lot of women are my clients, that type of thing. So it's pretty broad. But imagine if I said, no, I only work with people from this particular culture, from this particular city. That might be fine. In fact, I've done some work like that. But if I want to expand, if I want to scale, there's only so many people I can serve, right? Now, it doesn't mean that you change your offerings per se. It just means it expands the amount of people you serve. Like one of my favorite places is Shake Shack. I only got in on the East Coast. It's a New York company. Shout out to Danny Meyer. It's a New York company known for their very high quality fast food. I don't eat beef that often, but when I do, that's the place that I go to. For a long time, they were only available in New York. I would go to the ASJ conference, which I did the keynote for, link below. Over in New York, I get a Shake Shack burger and they'd have a fries and so forth. They've expanded their menu a little bit. They added some chicken, similar to like Chick-fil-A, and they added, like I said, some shakes, a couple things, but their menu isn't huge. It's still about 10 things. What they did, though, is that they set up by the strip here, one on the strip and one off the strip, right here in Las Vegas. So they expanded. So they figured out how to ship in the fresh meat and the special russet fries or whatever they get from Idaho or whatever. They figured out how to get it to Las Vegas, and it tastes as good here as it did when I used to get it all the time in Manhattan and in the other boroughs. They didn't change that much, but they expanded the amount of people that they serve. So now I've got my boys, the Shake Shack chicken and stuff like that. Like, so, which they haven't been to New York yet, at least as of this age. Back in the day they were, but they're able to get exposed. My family's able to get exposed to Shake Shack in a way that they hadn't before because my kids were too young to be in New York at the time. It was a cross-country trip, et cetera, et cetera. So you can expand the audience that you're serving, reach out to them, get more access to them. That's one way to do it. The second way to do it is to partner, connect with someone else. With my second startup, Cuddler, the one I was just talking about, I co-founded it with two other people. My first startup called So Quotable, which I talk about in my books, that one actually started with just myself. I was literally the solopreneur that I coach today. And so going through that process, it was me realizing, oh, if I partner with other people, then I actually can scale in a certain way. Another way of partnering, though, is also getting funding. And that could be from a venture capitalist. It could be angel funding, which is when someone gives you the money and it doesn't have as much tie to it as traditional VC funding. It could be a loan, stuff like that. All those are partnerships. I talk about that in my Bring Your Worth books. Again, the whole collection's coming out in a month. Everything is a partnership. Those things are partnerships. Whether you're taking the money or you're giving the money, those are types of partnerships. So partnerships are a big part of it. So essentially two different ways. You can expand the people that you get access to, one, or number two, you can partner with people and they might have the resources, the capital, the brain power, the strategy to help you get to the next level. It's such an important part of the process, I believe. One way that you can actually expand the audience that you're trying to reach is by having better ways to get them in. Now, a lot of us do this in the virtual world. I talk about Shake Shack, probably because I'm hungry, but you can also do this in a digital or the virtual world or the online world, whatever you want to call it. Lead Pages is actually an interesting way to do it. I used to work with them back in the day, not literally work with them, but I used to use their products quite a bit. Essentially what Lead Pages does is They have these particular formats, these particular structures that allow you to pull in particular customers, get the right people in, and then get them into that particular system that you would like them to be in. So I'll give you a really simple example. You might be watching the Bring Your Worth TV show, which obviously you are, and you're like, I want to learn more about Damon. There's links below, click on the link. And it's like, oh, okay, Damon's a coach. Well, then maybe I'll buy one of Damon's books. Or maybe I'll go ahead and subscribe to the Bring Your Worth show. Or maybe you know what? I'm kind of stuck right now. I could use a business coach. Maybe I'll reach out to him as a coach. If you end up checking out my website, it's structured in that way. Lead pages is the exact same thing. There's a lot of prominent folks that are on there. I totally respect the platform and their flow. Also, I had talked to them recently, which I'll send you the link in a minute, as far as with the conversation that I had with one of their leads of business. But now they're actually facilitating or organizing sales. And so if you're an independent publisher like myself, there's my own baby, there's my own little book. I sell a lot of these hand to hand, whether it's in person, if we're fortunate enough to connect at a keynote, or if it's through the website, damonbrown.net, and you want to sign a copy, again, coming out in a month, and I'm like, bet, and I sign it for you and I send it to you, and you pay me through Stripe or what have you. This is all set up in my website. Lead Pages is now doing the same thing. And so if you have a particular product or item that you want to sell, you can actually set up your store right on them versus having a Shopify or any of those guys where it ends up being external. That was one of the biggest challenges. I've talked about that on my show quite a bit. That was one of the biggest challenges when it comes to being independent, is that sometimes it ends up being 20 different directions you need to go in, right? Oh, I want to buy Damon's book, but it's not on his website. But let me go to Amazon or something. I'll buy it off there. Or I want to coach with Damon. Oh, but there's a different website for that. And then I have to put in my credit card number over it. Like, it becomes this thing. One of the things I was trying to do with damonbrown.net, the hub for everything, is that you can just go to this one-stop shop, literally, and get everything. So if you go to damonbrown.net, this show is actually streaming live on there, right? Talking about a meta experience. It also has all my coaching rates. It has all my books on there. You can click on there. It has the Bring Your Worth t-shirt. This is the new version, but be sure and check out the classic version on there. It has the Bring Your Worth mugs. All that stuff is available there. Lead Pages is moving into that space. So if you're just starting to set up camp, you know what I mean? I've been doing this for a while, but if you're just starting off setting up camp and you're like, man, I need a website, but it needs to be what they call a lead magnet. So a lead magnet for the people that want to come in and also want to sell stuff. And I might have some consulting, coaching, blah, blah, blah. And I also want to have my blog in there. They're starting to consolidate all that good stuff. Be sure and check it out. If you're going to scale your business and you're going to grow, you need to have some type of stable platform to do so. If you don't have that, it's going to be very, very difficult, very, very difficult for you to grow in any type of meaningful way. I think it's important to look at it from that standpoint. Related to that, I just had a recent interview with the head over there, one of the heads over there, Bob. Shout out to Bob. He's the head, I believe, of marketing and outreach. Sorry if I got your title wrong. We had a great conversation about how to grow businesses, the work that I do, what a non-traditional entrepreneur is, and how personally I'm trying to impact the world. You also learn a little bit more about what Lead Pages is doing. Be sure and check it out. I appreciate the feedback so far on the interview. If you guys have any questions as far as how to grow, be sure and put that in the links below. Did that rhyme? I think that rhymed. I'm hip hop, and I don't even realize I'm hip hop. That's funny. All right. So today's show, how to grow from small to big. And one of the crucial things is to understand why you want to grow, how you want to grow. And as I mentioned in the previous question, whether you're going to partner with folks or if you're going to just expand the amount of people that you're reaching.